welcome to TMZ Live. Boy, I don't even know where to start. So there's a cruise ship that is pulling into a harbor, and there is a guy on that ship for some reason, and I think we know why, decides to jump off and escape.
Oh, there's more to this story than just
way more.
What's on the surface. But yes, a man jumped off a Royal Caribbean cruise ship that was over the weekend pulling into port in Puerto Rico. This was the end of a week-long trip, and he decided he was not going to walk down the gangplank like everybody else.
He jumped
overboard intentionally. Now, when he falls into the water, there were people who saw this, and they went to rescue him.
Guys on a jet ski saw it, and they
pull him out of the water, and that's great. They think, all right, we've saved this guy's life. When he gets to the dock, he just hightails it because, according to authorities, he had run up a debt of $16,000, a gambling debt of $16,000 while on this cruise for a week.
Now, I don't think this is really the story, because I've been thinking about it. Yes, that happened.
That happened.
But I don't think that's why authorities were looking. He supposedly racks up this debt, but when they find him finally, and they did, they find over $14,000 in cash, as well as credit cards in his possession.
Five IDs, five different IDs.
What I think is...
Oh, and a bunch of telephones also.
Right. Now, I think, look, allegedly, we're just trying to piece it together, but the only thing that makes sense to me is the feds aren't going to come and arrest a guy because of a gambling debt. First of all, the cruise line has his credit card information, they have his ID, they know everything. So I don't think it's the debt. Allegedly, you would think that maybe he stole that money from other people, as well as their credit cards and ID and phones.
Well, the only federal offense he's been charged with so far is skipping out on the debt.
How's that a federal offense? It's a federal offense
to not report money, the $14,000 that he had on him.
Where is he going to report it? He's on a cruise.
You have to report the money. He
but
did.
I know, but he was
when you come to port, and he didn't. He just took off.
Why do you report a loss?
No, not the $16,000. The $14,000 that he had on him.
So why is that relevant?
You know this. When you come back into the country, if you have a large amount of cash, you have to declare it on customs form, right? He didn't do that, and they think that he was trying to dodge paying that.
Charles, how did he get the ID, the credit cards, and the cell phones?
Now, here's what I want to know. Did he have all that stuff on him when he jumped off, or did he get it after he got back on land?
My understanding is that he had jumped off with it.
We don't know. They just know that when they caught him in Puerto Rico, in San Juan, somewhere in the
Why didn't he
I think it's more interesting what he might have been doing with the money, because his brother has been in federal prison in Puerto Rico since January.
That is interesting.
Charles brought something up which was also interesting, is he was found near the Capitol building.
In San Juan. Why would he be near the Capitol building?
Why would he be anywhere close to that
if you're
he wasn't trying to
avoid
get caught,
the authorities,
if he wasn't trying to interact with authorities?
Yeah, but that's not a crime.
You've gone to great lengths to get off this ship.
Right.
And to avoid the authorities, why are you going anywhere near the Capitol building?
Exactly.
But they're not arresting him for going to the Capitol. It's not illegal to go to the Capitol.
No, it's not that.
No, but he's on the run. He knows that he's on the run.
So he could avoid interacting with authorities for that reason.
I understand that. But
so why would he
go to the lam?
I know, but what I'm saying to you is, I get it. If he just had the money, I get you. But he had cell phones and he had other people's ID, and
we should say,
it sounds like he took money from people on the boat.
That is a theory that came up this morning when we were talking about this.
It's the only thing I can make sense of. Why does he have all that ID and all the other stuff? Why?
So again,
why would you take that on a cruise?
So the guy who was arrested is Jay Gonzalez-Diaz.
That's the one who was just arrested.
That was just arrested. His brother, Jeremy Gonzalez-Diaz, is the guy who's been locked up in federal prison in Puerto Rico.
Fair.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The
$16,000 debt
doesn't
being what he really ran from doesn't make sense, because he clearly had access to $14,000.
And he could have paid it off.
That he could have paid that off.
Right.
So there's something else he's avoiding that we don't know yet.
Right.
I think this is going to turn into a great TV movie.
One of the things that makes this just like the comedic level of this so good is when the feds actually caught him and they were trying to identify him, he told them, the fact that you don't know who I am means you're bad at your job. And I think that's just a
It's
crazy
a little catch
line
me
that-
if you can.
It is so catch
It's a
me.
little catch me if you can.
It is. Why didn't he, if he had $14,000 on him, why didn't he tell the guys who picked him up in the jet ski, I'll give you $2,000, go around the island and let me off
Drop
at
me
some
off
remote
some
place.
remote area.
Cheapskate.
Hi, I'm Tiffany from Atlanta, Georgia. I feel like cruises are supposed to be a place where you escape, you go to have a good time, but unfortunately, this is not the situation for this man. This just shows that people are going through, financial struggles. So it's a good thing that he's still alive, but I feel like he's going to have to pay the consequences for what he did, trying to escape.
That is a very generous way of looking at
I
him.
think he had a good time, and I think he tried to escape. He clearly had a good time gambling. He just wasn't very good at it.
He wasn't very good.
Looks like you're going to have some competition for longest time on television. Because Whoopi Goldberg is going nowhere. They were doing some interviews talking about, they meaning the hosts of The View, talking about their new season. And I get the question, although I wonder if Whoopi was kind of offended by
Do you know that show has been on since 97?
I believe it, yeah.
Because it was when People's Court started, when I was in New York and that show started.
Yeah.
It was 97. Jeez, almost 30 years.
Long time.
Whoopi's been on 18 years?
Yes, and so they were doing an interview with E.T., and they asked Whoopi if she was thinking about retiring. I believe she is, 69?
69.
69. Here's what she said.
You ever think about slowing down, just enjoying this?
Yeah, but who can afford to do that? Who can afford to start? If you don't marry well, you got to keep working.
I feel like you might be one of the people that could afford it by now.
No, not by now. Not yet. I got to keep paying those bills, baby.
I'm not buying it.
You know what? We thought that she was kind of joking, but she didn't sound all that jokey about it.
Sound jokey.
She has gotten married and divorced 3 times.
Yeah,
and-
but she's
and never
also,
to people
she's
that-
also a movie star. She is, been on this show for
Right.
many years and made millions and millions of dollars.
Yes, indeed. I don't know what her divorce settlements looked like, but it sounds like she had to pay.
Oh, you think she had to pay?
Yes, that's what she means.
But the last divorce she had, the third divorce, was in 1994.
Oh, so she's not
Those
paying.
She's
while
done
ago.
so much since then. Obviously, she's making a ton with her TV career. Like you guys mentioned, she has had such a big movie career in the
But
past.
the big movie career was back when she was
in the 90s.
married, right?
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah, but
the
that
money
doesn't
that
mean,
would be.
it doesn't mean
That's
she was.
the money that she had to split.
Doesn't mean she was fleeced.
No, I'm not saying she was fleeced.
And we don't know.
I'm sure it was
There
all
might
on
have
the up
even
and
been a prenup, as far as we know. We don't know.
But she did, she has said in the past that she's still, I guess, in touch with her exes, her ex-husbands,
Yeah,
and they're
every
on
month,
good
I'm sure.
terms.
No, you are not paying somebody in
From the
2025 from
90s.
1994.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not paying.
It doesn't make sense, and a lot of people think this comment is tone deaf, like her being like, oh, I have to pay bills.
Oh, everybody
No,
stop.
I think what she, if anything, yes, I do think she's mostly joking. And it's not that she's broke, but she's just trying to recoup her net worth that, that was split in half.
How
3
much?
times.
How much do you think she makes in The View?
What
do you think?
No idea.
$1 million a year.
No way.
It's way more than that. Way more than that.
At least
She's
$1
the
million a
big
year.
star.
Probably
5 million,
5,
6 million.
Right,
Okay.
5, 6 million.
Over 18 years plus Ghosts and Sister Act and all these things
Yeah.
she's done.
You're naming movies that are more than 30 years old.
I don't care. She made
All that money's gone, man.
Coming up.
Well, the more information we get, the more information the public is clamoring for. Talking about the Epstein files, who knew about this material that was in the birthday book?
Sometimes the cover-up is as important as the crime.
Be right back.
Well, the more information we get, the more information the public is clamoring for. Talking about the Epstein files and the information that the House Oversight Committee released so far. And we'll say what we've seen so far is definitely eye-opening, but it does make you want to know more about who knew about this material that was in the birthday book to Jeffrey Epstein. And these images that we see there just are so disturbing. And to know that this was all put together in a very public to Jeffrey Epstein and his friends, and that there was no shame about it, that they were openly referring to his predilection for underage women.
So we're going to get into that, and we have a member of the Select Committee who is joining us.
Congresswoman Melanie Stansberry, Congresswoman from New Mexico, and she is joining us right now. Congresswoman, welcome to TMZ Live.
Absolutely. Good to be here.
So I want to start with one of the drawings from this birthday book, because, you know, when you look at the drawing allegedly drawn by Donald Trump, there are big questions about it when you talk about wonderful secrets. But the drawing I'm talking about is the split screen of 1983 looking at Epstein talking to these young girls, and then fast forwarding on the right to 2003, where these girls are servicing Jeffrey Epstein as if they've been groomed.
Yes.
What my takeaway from this was that this was, I don't know that the words could be common knowledge, but a lot of people seem to know the game back in 2003, whether they participated or not. And to me, that's the most significant piece of evidence I've seen.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot in this book. If you take time to look through the pages of what's included in this book, it's filled with all manner of disgusting allusions to Jeffrey Epstein's predilection, not only for womanizing, but for abusing young women. In fact, there's notes even in this section of this book, because it was divided up by family and friends, even amongst the section amongst his family. People knew. People talked about it, people joked about it. And the fact that somebody took time to actually draw this picture, and let us not forget that Ghislaine Maxwell is the human who put this book together. So she is the person who literally glued or did whatever this page into that book.
So, Congresswoman, it has not come out yet, and I'm just curious if you have the knowledge, if the committee saw who actually made that drawing, the one that Harvey was just referring to, the 1983 to 2003. Is there a name in the book for the person who actually made that drawing?
So that page of the book was part of a digital transmission that came to the committee. Our counsel for the committee, our lawyers for the committee, are traveling to New York City to actually examine the physical evidence to understand what the original evidence looks like, what was redacted, to make sure nothing was left out. But in the actual digital transmission, ironically, that photograph or that drawing is directly above the photograph of the infamous now check, in which Donald Trump's name appears on a novelty check paying Epstein for a fully depreciated woman. It's on the very same page.
So I'm sorry for belaboring this. Are you saying that you want to wait for your lawyers to authenticate before you're able to say anything about who actually drew that? Do you know, just in terms of what you've seen in the committee, is there a name that is attached that you've seen to this particular drawing?
I personally do not know the name of who drew that drawing, but it is a knowable fact, and we're happy to follow up.
Well, that would seem, I mean, you would think that whoever it is, the select committee might call them, because I would think it's relevant to know how widely known was this. I mean, it looks like this is actually on Epstein's Island, because you see the water, you see an airplane. So I would think this is a relevant person to call, correct?
Oh, absolutely. But let me just clarify. There isn't a select committee, which is a technical term used to describe a committee put together by Congress. This is the entire oversight committee conducting this investigation. And there are some people who have actually identified the building in this drawing as Mar-a-Lago. So we don't even know what that building actually is. But let me just tell you what the committee's plan is. We have subpoenaed documents from the Department of Justice. We have asked for documents from the Department of Treasury involving potentially illicit financial transfers that are involved in the sex trafficking scheme. And we've subpoenaed documents from the estate, which is where the birthday book came from. We are currently working on a list of additional documents, witnesses, and others associated with these crimes that the committee intends to move a vote for subpoenaing. So absolutely, we will be following up.
will there be any follow-up with the people who were involved in the prosecution of Jeffrey Epstein in Florida? Because
Absolutely. Yeah.
when we saw this drawing, the thing that stood out to us is that that 2003, his 50th birthday, is 5 years before that prosecution. So clearly, if there was any actual investigation done in Florida and they had turned this up, I don't know how you could then justify the very soft justice that was meted out in Florida to Jeffrey Epstein, knowing that clearly, it's just drawn right there, him handing the balloon to little girls is disgusting.
Yeah. So next Friday on the 19th, we will be doing a interview in the Oversight Committee with Acosta, who was the attorney who was in charge of prosecuting this crime, the set of crimes that were involved. And there will be a lot of questions about the non-prosecution agreement that was signed. That is actually one of the documents that was produced by the estate. It is already public. But yeah, I mean, let me just say this. Sometimes the cover-up is as important as the crime. And what we know is that the crime in this case is not just sex trafficking and child rape and physical assault of women and children, but it also involves a massive network of financial institutions, hundreds of millions of dollars in funds that were money laundering. It involves organizations that were involved in trafficking potentially young women from Eastern Europe. It involves potentially foreign governments. The survivors have told us there are FBI and CIA files that have not yet been surfaced, financial documents, because they have already been involved in criminal and civil lawsuits that have had those documents sealed. And that's why we need the White House to comply with the subpoena we've already issued to produce those documents to the committee, because they are sitting on who knows what evidence was not prosecuted and how it implicates not only Epstein, but all of the people around him, including the president, who knew what was going on, as this book shows.
Well, that leads to the final question, which is President Trump has been emboldened about exercising his executive power. I'm wondering if Congress might do the same and try to subpoena President Trump, because that drawing, whoever drew it, was done long before he became president. So it's not really covered by executive privilege. So has the committee discussed possibly subpoenaing President Trump?
In order to get a subpoena issued through the normal process, we vote on it as a committee. And it's notable that the Speaker of the House and the chairman, the Republican chairman of the committee, are actively colluding with the White House to try to prevent further investigation. So they've created this elaborate smokescreen where they're saying to the public, look, we're investigating, but actually they're not. They're not enforcing. They're not investigating. They're just essentially creating a space to give cover for the White House. So I have zero confidence that my colleagues, who are literally sitting in a committee hearing right now attacking the District of Columbia on behalf of the president, are going to vote to subpoena the president in front of the committee. But I think it's worth noting that in the Watergate scandal, right, it was the cover-up that ultimately revealed the true malfeasance of what was going on. So we know something's there, or the president wouldn't be threatening people to try to cover it up.
But the Democrats would vote to subpoena him.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right.
Okay.
Well, we will see where this goes. It is not going away. You just think about months ago that some people thought it was going to go away. Congresswoman, thank you so much for joining us.
Really appreciate it.
For the information.
Absolutely.
Coming up.
Well, there's a social media influencer who is now under investigation because she is also a middle school teacher. That is based on the fact that she wears clothing that you don't traditionally see teachers wearing.
A lot of teachers around the world post their classes and stuff every single day. So why me? Why is the problem with me? Why I can't do it?
Be right back.
TMZ's got every freaking thing. Big celebs, big stories, big events.
Phoebe Rexa was looking hot on vacation.
Look at the water, too.
Did you just say, look at the water? I mean, I'll be honest, that is what I was looking at.
TMZ.
Well, there's a social media influencer who is now under investigation because she is also a middle school teacher who on social media goes by Teacher Bay, and that is based on the fact that she wears clothing that you don't traditionally see teachers wearing. But Ms. Williams,
You know,
who teaches in...
you've heard of like, speech and debate club. Well, this is like nightclub.
I think that's what some people, that's how they would describe some of her outfits, that it's more for a nightclub than a middle school English teacher. But she says, you know what, she has former parents of her students who are parents of former students who are very happy with how she's teaching their kids. But the school, at least now, has heard enough complaints that they've decided to start an investigation. So joining us right now is Ms. Williams from South Florida. Welcome to TMZ Live, Teacher Bay.
Hi.
We really appreciate you coming on. So, it's funny, as Charles was talking, it reminded me kind of Erin Brockovich, where it kind of broke convention. So you obviously made a choice that you weren't going to dress like the, quote, classic teacher. So kind of tell us what went into that thinking.
I don't know what a classic teacher dressing is. I just dress how I feel like it, how for my confidence, and make sure that it's school appropriate, and it is school appropriate according to the handbook. It is. So I don't know what a classic teacher dressing is.
So that's interesting. So there is a handbook for, I guess, conduct and clothing.
I'm pretty sure that's like that for any job. You have a handbook that you can, hey, you wear this, you can wear this, you can't wear that, you can do this. It's like a cell phone policy. You can use your cell phone, you can't use your cell phone. There's policies everywhere when it's working at a job.
So then why, if you are adhering to that policy, what's the investigation about? I guess we're talking about it. This must be a pretty easy investigation.
It's not really, it's nothing too deep. It's if anybody complains about anything, that's just like if you go to your job and you say your employee hit you in the face, they're going to investigate it. We need to know what's the truth, what happened, what's your side, and let's move forward. I'm not fired. I don't know what scenario anybody is getting that from. But if anybody complains, of course, you're going to have to hear both sides of the story. That's anywhere, any job.
Have your
what are the complaints? I mean, investigation aside, what are the people saying that makes them uncomfortable about what you're wearing, how you're acting? Because I know you take Instagram photos there, at least according to what I've read. But what is it they're complaining about?
They're complaining about my shape. That I can see. I don't know. That's all I see is shape shaming. That's it. I don't see anything else.
Do you think that some of this is rooted in jealousy?
Yeah.
I guess your critics would say, well, what's the purpose of a teacher posting the photos and the videos that you do for yourself? What's the purpose of that?
A lot of teachers around the world post their classes and stuff every single day. So why me? Why is the problem with me? Why I can't do it? That's how I feel. Why can't I do it? Hey, everybody else does it. Everybody else is posting that they're bored doing their outfits of the day. Why? Because I have a unique shape that I am being bashed. Why? Because if another person in the same content with no bottom do the same thing, we wouldn't be here today, right? What do you think?
I got to say something.
I'll be honest, I didn't even know that this was a thing that teachers posted themselves this way.
I have been thinking as you were talking that, it's hard to get the attention of kids these days in class. And they check out and they are thinking about everything but class. And even if they are oogling how you look, you got their attention. And that's half the battle. So I'm a little confused if kids have your attention, that people are upset just because maybe they're looking at you for a reason other than arithmetic. And I'm serious. I really mean that.
Me personally, I keep it very professional at school. I don't know. They should be looking at only the board. I'm very strict. I'm very firm. You can walk into my classroom and hear a cotton ball drop on the floor. So whatever they talk about, it wouldn't be talked about in my class. I was going to have their attention regardless, because I'm not that nice of a teacher, honestly. I'm a very great teacher, but I'm not no child's friend. So we're gonna start there. So my shape, form, or what I dress have really nothing to do with my curriculum, honestly.
Are there people in the faculty that are supporting you?
Well, everybody loves me. They think I dress nice. So I mean, everybody loves me. I don't have much to say about my staff. We love each other. We're all here for each other. And so forth, so on. I don't have nothing to say about my students or my staff. I love my school. I love my staff, and that's really that.
All right.
Okay.
Well, we'll see. Like you said, you're sticking to the policies that the school has laid it out. So I'm not sure how far this investigation is going to go.
Really appreciate the time.
Williams,
It's interesting.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
All righty.
It really is Aaron Brockovich. It's exactly
It's just not
what the criticism.
people are- the only thing I would say is this: you could post those photos away from school.
These kids have seen a lot more than
I
that.
don't think it's not about. This isn't about the kids. This is about parents who are uncomfortable. They're the ones complaining. Kids aren't complaining.
That's kind of an indictment of the parents.
Coming up.
The investigation into this mysterious murder, we're assuming that it is a murder, body parts chopped up, found in a Tesla belonging to the singer David. And as this investigation is going on, we actually got a lot of new information about what police know, what they've learned to this point.
Be right back.
Welcome back to TMZ Live. The investigation into this mysterious murder, we're assuming that it is a murder, a body that was found here in Hollywood in a Tesla.
Body parts.
Body parts, chopped up body found in a Tesla belonging to the singer David. And as this investigation is going on, we actually got a lot of new information about what police know, what they've learned to this point. But as this investigation is going on, David is in the middle of a tour right now. Police, as we told you yesterday, police have said, and his people have said to us, he is cooperating fully with this investigation. He found out about this grisly discovery while he was on tour. Last night, he was performing at the Fillmore in Minneapolis and didn't, to our knowledge, didn't reference the investigation at all. Crowd was there and enjoyed the show.
So here's what we know.
It's got to be odd for him to be out on tour.
Oh, it's
knowing what happened back here in Hollywood.
And we don't know even what he knows. Now, I'm not in any way suggesting he's even a person of interest. But here's what we know. On September 5th, which was last Friday, police found this Tesla on a street, a residential street in the Hollywood Hills. It had been there for more than 72 hours, therefore it's declared abandoned. A tow truck comes, takes it to a police tow yard, and the people who work the tow yard smelled this noxious odor.
On Monday, and that's when they
opened the trunk and they found this garbage bag with body parts inside. So, robbery homicide is working on it. This, obviously, it seems like a murder. And the question is, who was driving this car? Who took this car? And there might be answers based on the way Teslas are designed.
Right, because people who have Teslas know that the cars are lined with cameras, and there are even some with cameras inside the cars. So there's a wealth of information right there in that car.
Not only that, though, there's GPSs in Tesla where they can go into it and you can basically just track through their system where they went, when it stopped, when it turned on.
They'll know where it was,
but
when it was there.
If they have video,
you'll see who's driving the car.
And more important, you're going to see who went in the trunk and put that bag
it was
in
there.
Yeah,
it was in the front trunk.
Well, the front trunk.
Obviously, the Teslas have the front trunk. But the interesting thing, I feel like just the big missing piece here, obviously, we learned that he never reported the vehicle stolen.
Right.
I mean, he's out of town, so who knows? Maybe it got stolen and he just didn't know.
It just was never reported.
Or he's, a 20-year-old kid who's out on tour and has a bunch of friends that use his car, his house, his different things.
Right.
So I'm sure he has some idea of who had access to his car.
If those are the two options, my intel, and this is unconfirmed, but my intel is I don't think it was stolen. It was everything I'm hearing. It was not a stolen car.
Tristan Clemens, Dayton, Ohio. Now, David is still continuing his tour, and the question is whether or not he should still be on tour while all this is going down. But when you really think about it, who's going to pay for the litigation? When they do pull those cameras up, they're going to be able to tell, and he's going to have his day in court. That's lawyers, all types of fees. So I'm not mad at him continuing this
But
tour.
I got to stop you. That doesn't mean that David's going to be hauled into court. It may be that what they find is somebody totally unrelated to him or even related to him. But if he's not involved in this, and at this point there's no evidence that he was, then he's not going to be hauled into court.
Well, I think that because he's the star, they're going to want to see him somehow do some kind of testimony. This is still his car.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he may have to testify as a witness, but it's not like he's going to be
connected to the murder.
That's right.
Well, it looks like Brooke Hogan is getting her wish, at least according to the documents that her brother Nick filed in their father's estate. And the will, according to these documents, shows that Brooke is not a beneficiary of Hulk's. We told you that she, a couple of years ago, went to Hulk and said, I don't want anything. She did not want to end up in a dispute over his money. I think she's going to be out of that dispute because Nick Hogan filed these documents that state that his estate is worth $5 million. Now, we've seen this before. I think his estate is worth more than that. So there's a lot in a trust.
What happens is that if you have estate planning, you can basically avoid probate. And you can do it with what they call an irrevocable trust, where sometimes people put the substantial amount of money in that trust, and they want to have some control over the rest. So he may have $5 million available, but there's no way in my universe to think that Hulk Hogan
only had $5
million, given the length of his career and how much.
But this is the $5 million that.
So what if she was part of the irrevocable trust?
Could be. I mean, we never. That's the thing with irrevocable trust. We don't know what's in the trust.
Right.
But these documents, at least, Nick is asking to be named a co-executor.
Sky?
No, not Sky.
Oh, I thought
someone
it would be
named
Sky.
Terry McCoy. Do we know who that is, Babcock?
Oh, Ed.
Ed got.
Who is Terry McCoy?
Terry McCoy was named as a plaintiff in that lawsuit. Remember against Bubba the Love Sponge that was filed just a couple days ago, a couple weeks ago.
Right.
And that's how he's worked as a financial advisor for Hulk Hogan.
So Terry McCoy
he's a
is
longtime
Hulk's
friend of Hulk,
financial advisor.
but he's also working hand in hand with Nick on all this stuff, including the lawsuit against Bubba the Love Sponge.
Right. So Nick and Terry McCoy would be in charge of what they've asked the court is that they'd be in charge of this portion of Hulk's estate, the $5 million. There was a place in the documents where he left this blank for money that may be recouped in a malpractice lawsuit.
Which of course was the neck. We broke that story that they were likely planning to file a medical malpractice lawsuit against the surgeon
But this doesn't make
operated.
Here's what doesn't make sense to me. That's in the will?
Right, like a placeholder for a potential lawsuit?
Well, because it was, remember, the surgeries were around May.
Yeah,
correct.
So it sounds like
that
he might have thought, I might die soon, and I'm going to revise the will.
Yeah, he had revised the will,
times.
but he actually revised it. We've had 4 times between 2017 and 2023. Obviously, that's after it had to be revised in the last couple of months.
Yeah, literally the last couple of months.
That might show you how bad he was feeling.
And you don't even, right, which is what I find really interesting. If it's in the will, that means he was thinking, I might die as a result of this. You don't need to put that in the will to preserve a malpractice action. The estate can still sue on that.
Right.
And then the beneficiaries collect the money. But it's interesting, at least on the surface, that Hulk could have said, I don't care what you say, Brooke, I'm still going to leave you money.
I thought that's what he was likely going to do, and he didn't.
I thought so too.
Shocking to me.
I know.
Coming up.
Boy, I don't even know where to start. So there's a cruise ship that is pulling into a harbor, and there is a guy on that ship, for some reason, and I think we know why, decides to jump off and escape.
Oh, there's more to this story than just
way more.
What's on the surface.
Be right back.
A man jumped off a Royal Caribbean cruise ship that was over the weekend pulling into port in Puerto Rico. This was the end of a week-long trip, and he decided he was not going to walk down the gangplank like everybody else.
He jumped
overboard intentionally. Now, when he falls into the water, there were people who saw this, and they went to rescue him.
Guys on a jet ski saw it, and they
pull him out of the water, and that's great. They think, all right, we've saved this guy's life. When he gets to the dock, he just hightails it because, according to authorities, he had run up a debt of $16,000, a gambling debt of $16,000 while on this cruise for a week.
Now, I don't think this is really the story because I've been thinking about it. Yes, that happened.
That happened.
But I don't think that's why authorities were looking. He supposedly racks up this debt, but when they find him finally, and they did, they find over $14,000 in cash as well as credit cards in his possession.
5 IDs, 5 different IDs.
What I think is...
Oh, and a bunch of telephones also.
Right. Now, I think, look, allegedly, we're just trying to piece it together. But the only thing that makes sense to me is the feds aren't going to come and arrest a guy because of a gambling debt. First of all, the cruise line has his credit card information, they have his ID, they know everything. So I don't think it's the debt. Allegedly, you would think that maybe he stole that money from other people, as well as their credit cards and ID and phones.
Now, here's what I want to know. Did he have all that stuff on him when he jumped off, or did he get it after he got back on land?
My understanding is that he had jumped off with it.
We don't know. They just know that when they caught him in Puerto Rico, in San Juan, somewhere in the town.
Why didn't he? I think it's more interesting what he might have been doing with the money, because his brother has been in federal prison in Puerto Rico since January.
That is interesting.
Charles brought something up which was also interesting, is he was found near the Capitol building.
In San Juan. Why would he be near the Capitol building?
Why would he be anywhere close to that
if you're trying to avoid the authorities,
if he wasn't trying to interact with authorities?
Yeah, but that's not a crime.
You've gone to great lengths to get off this ship.
Right.
And to avoid the authorities, why are you going anywhere near the Capitol building?
Exactly.
Well, but they're not arresting him for going to the Capitol. It's not illegal to go to the Capitol.
No, it's not that.
No, but he's on the run. He knows that he's on the run.
So he could avoid interacting with authorities for that reason.
I understand that. But
so why would he go to
the lamb?
I know, but what I'm saying to you is, I get it. If he just had the money, I get you. But he had cell phones and he had other people's ID, and
we should say
it sounds like he took money from people on the boat.
That is a theory that came up this morning when we were talking about this.
It's the only thing I can make sense of. Why does he have all that ID and all the other stuff? Why?
So again,
why would you take that on a cruise?
So the guy who was arrested is Jay Gonzalez-Diaz.
That's the one who was just arrested.
That was just arrested. His brother, Jeremy Gonzalez-Diaz, is the guy who's been locked up in federal prison in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
I don't know. The $16,000 debt being what he really ran from doesn't make sense, because he clearly had access to $14,000.
And he could have paid it off.
That he could have paid that off.
Right.
So there's something else he's avoiding that we don't know yet.
Right.
I think this is going to turn into a great TV movie.
One of the things that makes this just like the comedic level of this so good is when the feds actually caught him and they were trying to identify him, he told them, the fact that you don't know who I am means you're bad at your job. And I think that's just a crazy line.
It's a little catch me if you can.
Coming up.
Bachelorette made their big announcement. They used a very popular podcast, the Call Her Daddy podcast, to announce who the new Bachelorette is going to be.
We can officially announce that you are this season's Bachelorette.
Be right back.
We're going to have a little bit of a reality show crossover going on the next season of The Bachelorette.
Well, at least it's not inbred.
No, it's a whole different reality show.
But a good one.
But the Bachelorette made their big announcement. They used a very popular podcast, the Call Her Daddy podcast, to announce who the new Bachelorette is going to be. Here is how Alex laid it out.
You are on Call Her Daddy, so we can officially announce that you are this season's Bachelorette. How are you feeling?
To be honest, surreal. It has not hit me. Like right now in this moment, I'm just thinking about it, and it's like it's not real. I guess going in my head, I'm like, okay, how do I make this work? I'm a co-parent. I have 2 baby daddies, not one. So I'm dealing with 2 different people, right? So for me, I'm like, is this possible for me to do? Like, as a single mom, can I make it work realistically no matter how much I want this? And, you know, I was like, I can. If I want to, I can. You can do anything you want if you want.
So she is on the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. And this is really interesting because you're right. They've never done a reality. Although they did have Aaron Rodgers' brother on,
but he wasn't.
This is big for a couple reasons, though, because not just from the celebrity standpoint or like influencer standpoint, this is the first time that a Bachelorette has not been previously from the franchise, and this is also only
the first time.
Yeah,
first time they have a total outsider.
Yeah, exactly.
Really?
And this is also only the second time that we've had a mom being the Bachelorette. Season 8, they also had the Bachelorette was a mom, but for Taylor Frankie Paul, like with Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, she had big drama with her second baby daddy Dakota, so everyone's gonna be watching to see that.
Taylor or any fans of Secret Lives of Housewives or The Bachelorette, it just seems to me like her life is a little, the word messy comes to mind.
Oh, 100%.
Which is normally not what The Bachelor
what was her name on Love Island? Huda?
Huda, yeah, the mom.
She had a kid, and there was a whole thing. They actually made a whole storyline around that.
Exactly.
So you think The Bachelorette's responding, saying, we need some.
That's why I'm saying it.
I think they're kind of throwing a Hail Mary.
She was the breakout on that because of it.
Definitely, and I think this was supposed to originally be The Bachelor, not The Bachelorette, for where they are in the franchise loop, and they had renewed. So that's also why this is huge, because people were expecting, okay, we're looking to cast all these men, and then she comes on Alex Cooper's podcast, and it not only is a woman, it's a Bachelorette, but it's a woman who's been involved in a swinging scandal.
I don't know. This was just mentioned in the morning meeting that the ratings had been down last season.
Yeah, definitely. I think Joey's season was really good, but that's Bachelor again. Jen's season ratings kind of went down a little bit lower, but with Jen too, she was previously on Joey's season, so this is a big stray away for a Bachelor nation, kind of bringing in someone who's not originally attached.
Just a note, this is way more than I wanted to know.
You're welcome, Harvey. You're welcome.
Coming up.
When we come back, we are going to review the horrific events of today and where authorities are in pursuing the suspect.
Be right back.
You've seen the news about Charlie Kirk's assassination in Utah, and we use the word assassination. This is
the governor of Utah said it was a political
assassination. So the suspect at this point, we have the FBI director.
Can I stop you for a second?
Right now has said suspect.
Something just hit me.
Mm-hmm.
How does he know it's a political assassination unless the person they have as a person of interest is somebody with a political agenda?
Yes, I think they were being very careful with their words during that news conference, whereas the FBI director just came out and said it, suspect. But they were interviewing this person, and we are waiting to see if they release an image, if they actually arrest and book him.
And if he becomes the person that they believe assassinated Charlie Kirk.
Right.
What we don't know is why, if that person is in custody, did the governor say, we will find you if they think they found him. So that's a little confounding, but obviously, go to TMZ.com. We are on this story day and night. So we will see you tomorrow.